I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I've got to do another video about the space elevator. It's all I can think about. I guess you're kind of like catching me right in the middle of like a creative sort of phase, I suppose. It's a phase in which I'm designing something, or a phase in which I'm taking, the prospect of designing this machine seriously and trying to figure out seriously how it'll work, figuring out not how to get to these 36,000 kilometers away from the Earth for geosynchronous orbits, but trying to figure out how to merely get to the Kármán line and how to, anchor a station there and how to, I guess where the elevator would ultimately be going to is out to low Earth orbit, out to Leo, um, about 200 to 300 kilometers away from the Earth. And it's not really 200 to 300 kilometers, it's like 200 to 1600 kilometers, or several thousand kilometers away from the Earth. I suppose is what you call low Earth orbit. Then there's like medium Earth orbit, I think. Then various other orbits, including geosynchronous and geostationary, Lagrange points, what have you. So in the process of trying to figure out how to do this, the biggest still the biggest problem for me is this idea of anchoring, is the idea of tethering something in the mesosphere, having this cable, this system of pipes and cables running up through the mesosphere to then be supported with rocket engines on platforms powered by fuel that's being pumped up the cable. So if we want to do this, we need a way of adding tension on that section of the cable, that crucial part that goes through the mesosphere, where we don't know how to fly anything that doesn't have rocket engines on it. So nothing really works there as a system of propulsion except rockets. So no balloons generate lift. No propellers or anything like that could work. No jet engines could work. Nothing like that. So we can only use a rocket system of propulsion currently. So therefore, to save on fuel, really, the only thing I ever want those rocket engines to be doing is correcting and stabilizing the structure, just providing little bursts of corrective thrust here, there, and everywhere. So really, what this section above the Kármán line, needs to be doing out in space, because in space you don't need really all that much propellant to provide you with quite a lot of thrust if you want it, or to get you to quite high speeds. So above that provides an excellent opportunity to then burn propellant in space to keep a nice amount of tension going on that section of the cable in the mesosphere. And below the mesosphere in the stratosphere, using a long section of different stages of the cable, connecting to balloons to suspend the cable to provide lift there for that, and using jet engines to steer it, and also potentially using jet engines to provide thrust in the downward direction, and therefore also pull the other end of the cable in the mesosphere taut, or a bit more taut, so that it takes the stress off those rocket engines up there, and limits the fuel requirements on the rocket engines in the mesosphere. There's a lot to take into consideration with this. It's a mad plan. It's a crazy machine, I think. I think it's possible to build it. I do. I really do. I think it's possible to build it, and I think it's desirable to build it as well. For all sorts of reasons. I think it's a very good idea, actually, to have a nice big fuel line extending all the way into space from Earth. I think it's one of the better things we could have up there, if you see what I mean, for refueling starships and so on. We have something of a big issue with being able to store hydrogen in space, hydrogen fuel. So I think having fuel lines up there would make a good amount of sense, wouldn't it? for the time being, until we have something better to use as fuel in space, like fusion. If we can figure out a way of getting a lot of cheap tritium, that would be ideal. Some other, non-chemical form of propulsion would be possibly very good, like magnetic propulsion. Fire things around the solar system using railguns. Then again, we could also be using sails in space. And this is another thing I'd like to look into, actually, with the elevator design. I think that this could be a great opportunity to test solar sail technology. And we could be strapping great big solar sails to the sections of the elevator in space, and using that to try and give it some drag, right? To generate a bit of lift, I suppose, moving out from the planet, and just try and keep it suspended there, stop it falling back towards the Earth. Which the more you get towards Leo, the less, as I said, the less you need to correct anything like this cable with thrust. So relax. It gets easier as you get further out of Earth's gravity, as one would expect, right? You encounter, for instance, like less air resistance. You don't have all this problem of the atmosphere and everything's spinning at thousands of miles an hour, which or winds within it and so on, and resistance from it. You don't have any of that to contend with. Nicely in space, things move around very quickly. You can get things moving quite quickly, quite easily, and yeah, we can have that up there more like. But yeah, again, it is this issue of getting out of the atmosphere that's very perplexing. Again, that seems to be the major problem with space exploration. Dare I say, I'm tempted to say, once we're in space, we can just zip around all over the place, do all sorts of things in space. Well, actually, we can't really. We're still very much in the first generation of space exploration, I think. We're still very much corseted by rocket technology, and we're relying solely on one device, one machine, the rocket, to get us everywhere. I said it before, I said it again, I don't think space elevators will replace rockets. I think there's numerous advantages to rockets. I think if you want to get something out of geosynchronous orbit or geostationary orbit, to the moon, quickly, your best bet probably is a rocket. And I think I don't think that's likely to change anytime soon. And even if we had a space elevator going to, say, Leo, because you wouldn't want it going all the way to geostationary orbit, really, a space elevator. It'd take months to get along the climber. It'd be going too slowly. It would be, unless it was rocket propelled. But then again, you might as well just have a rocket if you've got a rocket propelled space elevator. Surely. No, once in space you need rockets. Or starships with rocket engines, which, I guess is also a form of rocket, is it not? Yeah, and those will be doing the heavy lifting in space. It'll be like a railroad leading to the sea. That's what a space elevator would be like, wouldn't it? It'd be like the railroads lead from inland to the sea. Yeah, this is more like it. And then it loads and unloads onto the big ships going around the solar system. Like every celestial body that's colonized, I imagine eventually will have their own space elevator, transporting goods to and from space, and so on. But yeah, I needed to clarify more in my mind what exactly it is I'm designing, what it is I'm building, to figure out how this bloody thing is going to work. The rocket engine stages. Would you like to sit on a cable being dragged between rings of rocket engines and nothing else? Think of that. You're sort of putting sails on it to trap the winds in the mesosphere. Would that make me feel better about going up there? No, I'd rather go up on a bloody rocket than a cable. I think I would do this anyway, I think. Yeah, I would. I'd go up on that cable. I would. It's in my nature to. Even if there's a stupid thing. Even if there's a very stupid idea, I'd do it. I guess I would. Most certainly I'd like to go up on those balloons to the lower mesosphere. That would be amazing. That'd be thrilling, I think. They're going up that, above that on rocket stages. Stages of space elevator supported by rockets. But not supported by rockets. Pulled taut by whatever's out of the atmosphere. Out in space. We would hope. I think. Anyone with an opinion? Anyone with some engineering nous who feels they'd like to weigh in and contribute to this? Please do so. If I end up using your idea, I'll put it on the masthead of the website for Astrodyne Rocket Jet. I don't even remember my own bloody company name. Astrodyne Rocket Jet. Yes, I'll put it on the website for that. Thank you very much for watching.